I'm Lori, and I am standing in front of Collier Street United Church. Every year we have this amazing silent auction, and this year was supposed to be our 25th annual. But then COVID. So we said, what can we do? How can we redo this? So we went online. It's a little bit different, but it's actually quite fun. We have actually used a site called biddingowl.com. So the address is biddingowl.com/Collier Street United Church. We have over 200 items. Not only our church community, but the community at large has been very generous. The really fun part is that it's a really neat combination of things like furniture, sporting goods. We've got some children's skates. We have really nice collectibles. So some beautiful crystal and china and interesting stuff like that. And we also have lots of gift certificates. So again, some of the congregants have went out and purchased gift certificates from local businesses. We also have, of course, it's a church, so we have wonderful home baking, soups and bread and brownies and fruit pies. We have one member of our church who is actually making a week of face masks. Again, welcome to COVID. Custom made, custom sized for you. They're pretty fun. So it's a full week of face masks. We have another congregant who is actually taking the baking course at Georgian right now, but has done multiple sourdough baking courses in the States. Sourdough bread for a week. All kinds of fun stuff. This is we have printed out, do have some congregants who are maybe not as tech savvy, so to go to the actual website and bid is a bit challenging. So we printed out the items for a few people. Collier Place is right behind me. We put one of these there as well so that they can peruse the items, and I think that there's something for everyone.
Last year, the Total Mom Pitch was an in-person event on a stage. And when I decided to take this online and across the country, I was able to get the attention of Scotiabank Women's Initiative, Visa Canada, which runs an initiative called She's Next. This is a huge deal for myself as a small business owner, but I think what's important here is a lot of these moms will get a chance to get in front of large organizations like this and get on their radar. So there's a lot of eyeballs, just kind of, just go for it. So Canada's Total Mom Pitch is the largest business competition for moms across Canada. We're going coast to coast, and we're looking for moms that own a business, and we want to help them connect them with powerful resources, other successful women, but most importantly, scouring the internet. Nobody has the time for that right now. So what we're doing is every single mom that applies is going to get a business bundle, and that business bundle is just going to show them where they can get funding, where they can get mentorship, where the business ecosystems live, and how they can get supported with their small business. I think a lot of moms across the country can relate that own a business, that COVID, when it hit, it was a big slap in the face. We didn't really know what we were going to do with our businesses or companies. And there's just this pressure of having to pivot digitally and having to understand marketing and take everything that was happening in real life and turn it online. This is very difficult and very expensive. I currently, had to move back into my home office to be near my kids. They're getting sent back left, right, and center for any symptom. And it's just kind of one of those things where we have to choose sometimes, is the mom or the dad going to get to keep their opportunity or their side hustle or their business? So moms are sort of being put back into this position where we have to decide whether we're going to go after our, dreams and our businesses, or are we going to just stay home and try to figure this thing out? So one of the things I found extremely shocking was that over 865,000 women lost their job in September alone. A lot of women are facing these issues as it is, but moms in particular are having to choose. So one of the things that statistics are showing is that small businesses are trying to figure out, how are they going to get more money through the door? How are they going to increase revenue? The other thing is trying to reduce wages or trying to figure out how to bring on more team members, because we honestly can't afford to keep growing teams, and people are going back home from work, or they have to stay at home to watch their kids. So our company in particularly, we lost a lot of women that were working for us because they just simply have no other choice. And one of the things that it's important to note is we've come a long way as women. We've come a long way of, creating businesses and having these unique opportunities to shine as businesswomen. And if moms have to keep choosing whether they're going to continue with their passion project or stop, what's going to happen to the economy and women in general? How are they going to continue getting these opportunities? Canadian moms that own a small business can apply from now all the way till November 12th. Once November 12th hits, that's it. So make sure you apply. Don't miss the deadline. And yeah, it's going to be super exciting.
Open by appointment. So while the public can't come into the center, we are happy to help with whatever anyone needs help with by appointment. So simply giving us a call or sending us an email, and we will get back to you. We are still doing limited contact adoptions, and we are doing limited contact arrivals as well, meaning that if somebody needs assistance in rehoming their pet, again, we are more than happy to help with that. We are here for other needs as well. If somebody finds themselves unable to feed their pet, for example, because of an issue with the pandemic, like a job loss, we are happy to help with that, to provide food for them so that we can keep pets and their families together. But again, things happen in people's lives that we can't always control, and we are here to help with rehoming if that's what's needed. The Animals and More pin is intended to be worn as a compliment to the poppy, in remembrance of our veterans and the animals who served by their side. So this year we introduced the pigeon, and along with our dog pin and our horse pin as well. And it's meant to represent all animals and more. Of course, we know that there were several more animals than dogs and horses and pigeons helping in wartime, such as mules carrying artillery, cats serving as companions. We actually first launched them in 2017, and we launched it to provide support for animals in need, but also provide support for our veterans. So this year, for example, because of the pandemic, the Ontario SPCA has increased its commitment to the veterans in 2020 by donating $2.50 from the sale of every pin back to the Royal Canadian Legion branches across the province. The Ontario SPCA wanted to recognize animals in war. Of course, we can't recognize animals in war without also recognizing our veterans, which is why the Ontario SPCA came up with the Animals in War pin, so it can be worn alongside the poppy, so we can remember our veterans who served in the war as well as the animals who served in the war. Visit ontariospca.ca/remember to order your pin. Alternatively, you can call 1-888-668-7722, extension 360 to place your order by phone.
Char is a little character with a confident and bright personality. She has impaired vision that was caused by retinal degeneration, but she adapts well and we believe she can see shadows. She's just under 5 years old. She has a lot of spunk and will happily play with a toy or chase a ball. Char would do best in a quiet, adults-only home. A bungalow, condo, or apartment would be perfect for her. Once she is comfortable in her surroundings, she settles in very quickly. She is good with other cats as long as they let her do her own thing and don't get in her space. She's a little bit of a chunky monkey, so would benefit from a good quality diet food as well as portion control. She's affectionate and likes to be brushed. For more information, please email streetcatsrescue@hotmail.com if you would like to arrange to meet Char.
This project that we're doing right now could be a global game changer, because we're actually using the cargo drone behind me, affectionately called the Sparrow, and it's flying humanitarian aid across the bay to an isolated First Nation on an island. And this is the first time in Canada that we've ever had a humanitarian mission run using cargo drones.
cool is that?
A lot of people don't realize First Nations communities are particularly susceptible to the virus, to the pandemic. They typically don't have very good healthcare infrastructure. There's no hospital on the island, for instance, and they often have underlying healthcare issues. So they're trying to self-isolate. So we're using the drone to deliver pandemic-related supplies from the mainland to the island.
COVID has brought a new challenge for every community. It means looking at different ways of doing things. I mean, all our lives have changed in how we respond to this pandemic. The solutions are out there with different companies, and I think it's great.
The OEC is one of the lead backers of this project. We really see this technology being the future of logistics, and when this opportunity came up, we thought really this checked a lot of boxes, being a great humanitarian project and also testing the technology.
What's really important here is that everybody was brought together to help. So Air Canada Cargo and Pontiac Group identified the need of this community that could be well served with Drone Delivery Canada's technology, and Air Canada Foundation, working closely with Global Medic, knew they had the expertise to help. So it's a really, really good example of how everybody's assets and expertise can be brought together for social good. And we're really, really proud of the meaningful connections that have been made to make this happen.
What really excites me even more than helping this First Nation in this community is the global impact that it can mean. Because that little beast can be delivering life-saving aid to people trapped on mountains, trapped because of earthquakes and roads being out, trapped because of storms, and it's just going to save lives. And whenever Canada can step up to the world and save lives, that's a great thing.
Slow down, you move too fast. You gotta make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. Do, 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 do. Hello, lamppost, what you knowin'? I gotta watch your flowers growing. Ain't you got no rhymes for me? Do-do-do, feeling groovy. Do-do-do-do-do. Got no deeds to do, no promises to keep. I'm dappled and drowsy and ready to sleep. Let the morning time drop all its petals on me. Life, I love you, all is groovy. Do, 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 do.
Yeah, so we do an affordability poll. We do it once a year, and the affordability poll just recently came out as our third annual one. And what it showed us is that there's a real division in the affordability gap now. About 40% of the people we surveyed are actually in a worse financial situation than they were pre-COVID. About 19% have actually improved, but again, there's this large percentage that have actually, their situation has declined. What's more important in that is that the group that are worse off are 4 times as likely to be having financial difficulty, i.e. struggling to keep up with their monthly payments, than those who are faring better. And then if we broke it down further, there was a real divide as to who is actually in a worse financial situation. And what we found out is it was people that have struggled on their income side. So they've had a layoff, they've got reduced hours, they're just not earning as much as they did before, or they were earning less than $50,000 a year. Those who have fared better were actually the younger generation, sort of the 18 to 24-year-olds have actually done the best, or didn't suffer a reduction of income, or alternatively, we're making more than $100,000 a year. So there is this real divide in the affordability that we've seen. The starting point for us has always been to manage your finances with a budget. And that's one of the things that also came out in our affordability poll, was that in Ontario, 58% of the people aren't looking at their budget. So again, if there's uncertainty, and unfortunately we're into the second wave now. We know this is going to be continuing for a while to come until they probably get a vaccine. So it's really important to be focused on your budget, where you're going. If you think there's uncertainty of your income, your budget's your starting point. What money is coming into the household each month? If it is staying level, great. If it's actually decreasing, you got to go back to your expenses. What can you do to fix it up? One of the things we discovered is the #1 financial priority that came out of our affordability poll is that it used to be retirement savings. It's not this year. It was an emergency fund. And that's because people are realizing that things can happen, that you suddenly need a nest egg of money. You've got 3, 4, 5 months of expenses saved up to help you get through it. And so, again, that's where you go back to the budget, because the budget is where you find the savings in your expenses to be able to put money aside into that emergency fund. So the people who are doing well can actually look at improving their savings, because one of the things we found in the poll is that a lot of your non-discretionary expenses have gone down. And the reason they've gone down is because you can't go out to restaurants, and you can't go out to the mall, and you can't go to the movie theater. A bunch of stuff you used to be able to do have really been retracted. So that creates extra money in your budget. What you should be doing now is looking at your long-term goals and figuring out your retirement savings. Do you have that emergency fund? What is the appropriate use for that? What we've actually discovered is a lot of those people say, well, because that spending's gone down, I can afford other items. If you talk to people who are in like car dealerships, marinas, they've actually had a record year because the people have been using the money to get other things. I would take a little bit longer view and say, let's look at our budget and say, how's your retirement coming? How much money do you have in your retirement fund? And should you be using some of that money towards retirement? But again, that's setting your goals, your short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals in your budget, and then focusing on your personal finances. Because if you look at retirement savings in Canada, they're actually extremely low. And even those who do have retirement savings don't have adequate amount. So again, let's focus on the long-term goals in your budget if you're doing well and have the funds. So if you're in a difficult situation, again, look at the budget, look at what you got coming in for income, and look at what your fixed expenses are. See where you can cut back in order to make the budget work. If, unfortunately, you're just saying, look, I can't make it work, there's just not enough money coming in, that's when you reach out to someone like a BDO to sort of say, look, I got a problem, how do I get out of this situation? We'll walk you through it, we'll develop a budget with you, and we'll figure out what's the best solution for you to address your situation.
Club exists to be able to provide people with support through groups, workshop, education, and connections. We build a community around being diagnosed and living with cancer. The cancer landscape has changed a lot in our lifetimes with advances in research, in access to care, new facilities, new technologies. We're actually changing the outcomes of cancer. So while 1 in 2 Canadians will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime, 75% are going to survive their diagnosis. Gilda's Club exists to be able to help people answer, how do I live with cancer?
I woke up one day and found a lump in my breast, and it turned out to be 2 different kinds of breast cancer. It was quite a serious diagnosis, and I've had a lot of support and a lot of determination to get over it.
If COVID-19 has given something to all of us, is maybe a little understanding of what it's like to be told that you have cancer, to be able to have anxiety, depression, isolation, a fear of the unknown. You're dealt a very hard blow with more questions and no answers. And to be able to connect with professionals that can provide evidence-based program support so that you can help put things back into place and learn how to live with cancer and how to be able to make sure that you live well. That's what Gilda's Club is looking to accomplish, and that we are accomplishing in this hard environment of a pandemic. Fundraising is important. We live on the generous support of donors and of people who organize things just like the 2021 Raw and Reflective Calendar. So this was originally done last year and raised an amazing $31,000. That money goes directly to our cancer support program. We have over 700 different kinds of programs that we tailor to our members' needs because we have supporters like Sharon Smith, Connect Studio, all the sponsors and the models. And I think the thing that's really, really important about this calendar is that it shares what it's, some of the stories and what it's like to be able to go through a cancer journey, to be able to see, some of the impacts that, to say it's life-altering is an understatement. And, these are very powerful images, very powerful stories. And the theme that you'll see as you go through this is courage. And with the support that people give us through this calendar, we're able to help provide courage to anyone impacted by cancer.
My story is going to be different from many other stories, and in the calendar, one of the greatest things that makes it an appealing donation, if you will, is that each and every one of the models has a different story. Some of them are still dealing with cancer, some of them, like me, are survivors. But I have to tell you, I was Miss April last year with my dogs, one of whom is also a cancer survivor. So it was a really great way of giving back, and also being able to have people who haven't had cancer understand the impact of it. Because when you get a diagnosis, your life stops until you can get a handle on it. And it's supports like Gilda's that make such a difference in getting you that help and that support that you so need. And that's just not the family or the person who's diagnosed, that's the family member too. So it was quite the experience to almost bear everything. Fundraising in a pandemic is a really challenging thing, and a lot of not-for-profits and charities are for sure having difficulty. But the beauty of the calendar is that it is a $20 investment. And last year, and everybody needs a calendar, right? And last year we raised $31,000 through the great sponsors, the volunteer work that was done, and the fact that people just bought a calendar. They gave it to their family, they hung it on their walls, they read the stories. It's a great investment. It's only $20, and if that's all you can do in this pandemic, it would be put to work so quickly, and we would be all grateful.
Interesting ride through COVID. We've definitely got our processes and internal operating distribution process it's a well-oiled machine now when it comes to how we distribute our food. Previously doing deliveries, but because of the colder weather and the snow and the ice that comes with that, having volunteers out on the road making deliveries was something that we wanted to avoid any risk that came along with some injuries or accidents. So we've changed our distribution model internally here at the Sharing Place to allow for people to come in and pick up their food at our facility in a socially distanced way, but still providing the opportunity for people to custom order. So we're able to make sure that our members access the food that they want. We're definitely getting an increase in the demand, and we are well aware that will probably continue. But our facility itself, when it comes to our supplies, we are keeping up when it comes to supplies. And that's because people are making financial donations. So we're no longer having as many food donations coming in, which is a good thing because it's they're shifting towards financial donations. And that's without a doubt the best way to support a food bank, because then we can purchase what we need in bulk, wholesale prices. 1 in 6 kids in Canada live in a food insecure household. So that means that the household that they're living in have trouble affording food and paying for rent, and so they need to make a choice where they allocate their funds. And so, unfortunately, the breakfast and snack programs that existed at school, if you think of it, that parent that's in a home, and the other big stat is 65% of people that are food insecure, they're attached to the labor market. So they have salaries. The major income comes from salaries or wages. And so these are parents that are working really hard throughout the day, are coming home, making probably minimum wage, but with inflation, minimum wage does not cover the costs of what one needs to survive, right? And so they need to access programs like a food bank or like a student breakfast and snack program that exists at elementary schools. So a lot of these parents would know that, okay, I can save some money with breakfast and some lunch snacks. I can send my kid to school. They've got a good program where the kids can eat. Well, when they go to school, the program now is a lot smaller. They're no longer providing the type of food that they historically provided, because it all has to be grab and go snacks where there's no preparation, no volunteers in preparing the food. So these programs are now a lot smaller when it comes to the type of food that they can distribute. The program provides 80 kids per school, 2 portions, 1 grain, 1 fruit per day. And now we're supplying the schools. They also have their own funding to be able to supply more food as well. So it's not like that's the only thing they're receiving. But definitely we know from many of the schools that the current program and the type of food that they're supplying is not enough. The more money obviously we receive, the more support we can provide. We've shifted our programming to be much more focused on food access and really increasing the amount of food that we can provide our member base, but it's all dictated by funding. So we can only support and provide as much food as financial donations that we get in. So currently right now the Sharing Place is focusing majority of our energy on our food bank, the student nutrition program, which we just spoke about there. And then we're also cooking in one of the churches, a small group of volunteers being able to create, we did, I think it was on Tuesday, just over 200 portions of soup that we're able to distribute out of our facility, our food bank, and then other community partners could distribute those as well. And so we're going to continue to do that. And then the future of the Sharing Place is making sure that we're able to do a lot more of that cooking. Like we have a phenomenal food recovery program where we have a refrigerated truck on the road going to our different retail partners. If it's No Frills, if it's Costco, Giant Tiger, picking up the surplus food that exists at their facilities, or even going out to like 50-acre farms and Bass Lake farms. During the growing season, we were able to pick up a lot of their surplus produce, bringing that into our facility. We're going to be constructing a commercial kitchen on site to be able to process a lot of that food into ready-made meals, where we're able to cook them, get them into the to-go containers, freeze them, or distribute them fresh out of our food bank, or supporting other community partners in the Orillia area. So that's our core focus, is making sure that we have the financial capacity to be able to do that. To be able to fund the development of this commercial kitchen, and then continually to increase the amount of access to food. We are focusing a lot of energy on making sure that we're here to supply food, but I just really hope that that the governments, whoever is in power at whatever time, really focus on looking at ways to truly provide people with more income, because it's required. We should not be the ones trying to solve the problem. People should be provided with an opportunity to solve it themselves.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media. This is Rogers TV.
It's closing time, and you stayed out longer than you planned. So now you can't drive, and the buses have stopped running. You could always call your girlfriend. Or maybe your roommate? What about your best friend? You could just dial 1-888-TAXI-GUY or use the Taxi Guy app. The call and the app are free, and they both connect you to a local cab company to bring you home safely. Visit ArriveAlive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive.